My name is Pat Bridges. I'm from Snowboarder magazine, and this is Permanent Ink. With Snowboarder in its 30th year producing magazines, we've created Permanent Ink, which is a broad strokes look back at the history of snowboarding media and how it has evolved and what trends have come into play over the last 4 decades of snowboarding. We are at the Volcom headquarters here in Southern California, and they've got a vast archive of magazines for us to pick through to kind of give you guys a look back at how the sport has evolved as far as on the printed page and the role of magazines in that evolution. There's a lot of speculation about when snowboarding first appeared in the magazine. It definitely predates me, but as far as my purview goes, the first time snowboarding really appeared in print was Action Now magazine. Action Now was the magazine that Snowboarder magazine turned into. It's a bit of a catch-all action sports magazine. But here we have a magazine from December of 1981, and it says Snowboarding Is This the Year, with a picture of Tom Sims on the cover. The first magazine that was solely dedicated to people standing sideways and riding down the slopes was Snowboarder magazine, no relation to the Snowboarder magazine that people know of today. In 1981, in Northern California, these guys came together and put out a single copy of a magazine with skateboarder Steve Caballero on the cover, and he's riding a Sims Lonnie Toft snowboard. So, unfortunately, 1981, one magazine, Snowboarder, not to be seen again. The first snowboarding publication to really take hold was called Absolutely Radical, and that was a magazine created by a guy named Tom Shea. It was playing into the hyperbole that snowboarding wasn't really something that was fit for the masses, so within a couple issues, Tom and company had changed the name of Absolutely Radical to International Snowboard Magazine. ISM for short, with the tagline, "The first mag, the last word." For the most part, snowboarding was attracted to surfers and skateboarders, which is why, magazines like Thrasher put in a lot of ads, did a lot of articles. Snow skaters right here. Here we have a copy of Thrasher with Rob Roskop on the cover. Personally, the first time I saw snowboarding in a magazine was an ad for Burton and Thrasher. You got results from the legendary Mount Baker Bank Slalom. For the first 20 years, you saw a lot of snowboarding and skateboarding magazines, and I think it was kind of when snowboarding became part of the Olympics that the skate mags were like, whatever, sellouts. Can't blame them. In the fall of 1987, Transworld Skateboarding released the first issue of Transworld Snowboarding. And then a year later, Powder and Surfer magazine released the premiere issue of Snowboarder magazine. Everything you need to know about the DNA of Transworld and Snowboarder is front and center on the covers of the first issues. For instance, Transworld Snowboarding, you got a guy blasting an air off a quarter pipe, just like you would see in Transworld Skateboarding. And then similarly, as the result of a marriage of Surfer and Powder magazines, Snowboarder goes to newsstand with a guy in a wetsuit wearing ski boots on the cover of the first issue. Doesn't get much more cliche than that. So now what made magazines like Transworld Snowboarding so unique in the 80s is, ostensibly they're there to inform and entertain other snowboarders. Cool, that's what they did. But I've talked to guys like Guy Motil, who was the photo editor of Transworld Snowboarding for that first year, and he's talked to me about, the mantle that they held and how Transworld Snowboarding kind of took it upon themselves and felt one of their responsibilities was to create a tool that legitimized snowboarding. Not necessarily for the people who are already out there snowboarding or for the people who might want to start snowboarding, but they wanted to create a magazine that somebody could hand to a manager of a ski area and say, hey, this sport's legit, and it's something that's going to bring a lot of energy and life to your slopes, but it's something that you shouldn't be afraid of. Like, they legitimately saw this as a way to help grow the sport as far as door-to-door, ski area to ski area. But at the same time, they also saw that it could also hinder that growth of the sport. So while we have a lot of, skateboarders, a lot of, somewhat delinquents are going to be reading this, living by it. I was one of them. They also knew that there were going to be a lot of 40, 50-year-old dudes who were deciding to fade as snowboarding. They were going to be looking at these pages. All those things came together to formulate how vital snowboarding media, and particularly print media, were during the formative years of our sport.